Welcome to Tech Campus. My name is Zia, and in this video we'll be looking at conditional formatting. So we've got 6 examples here. So let's get started with the first example. I've got some sales data here, and what I want to do is I want to find revenue where it is over £5,500. So in order to do this, we can get conditional formatting to assist us. So select the first cell and then go Control-Shift down arrow to select the data, and then go to the Home tab, Conditional Formatting, highlight cells and rules greater than, and I want to select or type in £5,500. Change the default color to green, click OK. And what's happened is all of the cells where the values are over £5,500 has now been selected. If I wanted to change it, the value to, rather than finding values that are over £5,500, if I wanted to find items that were below £6,000, for example, what you can do is you can change the criteria. Before we do that, we need to clear this rule. So if we go back to the top, select the data, go to Conditional Formatting, clear rules from selected cells. So now it has cleared the rule for conditional formatting that we just specified. Now we're going to go and look at values below £6,500. Go to highlight cells less than, and then we'll put in £6,500. Leave that as it is, and now anything below £6,500 has now been selected. And now the other thing we could also do is, at the moment you've got all of these cells that are being highlighted, but they're in different places and they're not together. So what you can do is, if you select one of these cells, right click, go to filter, and then if you specify filter by selected cells color is a bit that you need to click on, and then what you'll find is Excel now filters the list. So all of the items that are below £6,500 is shown together. So I'm just going to clear the filter. Just do Control-Shift-L to get rid of the filter. We need to clear the criteria. So again, Control-Shift down arrow to select everything, conditional formatting, clear rules from selected cells. So now we are back with a blank set of data, and another useful rule that a lot of people find very beneficial when it comes to using conditional formatting is to look for duplicates. Now duplicates can cause all sorts of problems. If an invoice is sent out twice, it might have different values, but if the invoice number is still the same, then it should indicate that that invoice should not be sent out, or it needs to be investigated. So in order to do that, I've got data here in column D with invoice numbers. Now it doesn't look like there's any duplicates invoice numbers, but of course, when you've got a large set of data, you can miss these sort of things. So highlight the data, go to conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, and then select this option here which says duplicate values. So click on that. Leave the default as it is. Of course, you've got an option to change it if you want. So it doesn't look like there's any duplicates here. So if you scroll up, but there is. So it's just as well we've checked using conditional formatting. So it will save you a lot of time and a lot of pain if you're able to use conditional formatting when you're looking for duplicates as well. So at the moment we're looking at sales data, but you can also use this for any type of data where there could be duplicates. I'm reminded of the purchase ledger, when you make payments. obviously you don't want to pay a supplier twice, because again, you'll be losing money, and then you'll be contacting the supplier trying to get your money back. So this is a good way of avoiding those sort of scenarios. In example 2, we want to work out, looking at the revenue, which are the top 5 revenue streams from customers. So again, it's all very simple. Just select one cell, do Control A to select the data, go to Conditional Formatting. We're going to select the second option, select top 10 items. We'll be looking at the top 5, but you need to select that first, and then this can be changed to whatever value that you require. So if you wanted the top 7, the top 8, it doesn't really matter. So just select the number of items that you require. We require 5, so press 5, click OK, and then what you do is, if you scroll down, you'll start to see the top 5. So you can see it being highlighted here. Again, what we can do is, if you go to the top, we can actually filter this, Control Shift L, and then what we want to do is we want to filter cell by color. So that's the color that's there, and there you see we have the top 5 revenue streams. So it's a very quick way of getting data where you just want to see the top customers. That's a kind of a typical sort of request from management, and now you've got a very quick way of doing this. So let's clear this, Control Shift L, and then we want to clear the conditional formatting. Go down here to clear rules from entire sheet. So now we can do the same thing, but obviously we've just looked at the top 5. Now if you wanted to look at the bottom 6, Control Shift L, sorry, not Control Shift L, that's just to filter the data. So what we do is Control A to select the data, conditional formatting, go to the second option again, and then this time we want to look at the bottom 10 here. We want to look at the bottom 5, click 5 here, click OK, and then if you go to the top, as you can see, it's filtered the bottom 5. Let's filter again so all of these items are together. So here we are. So these are the bottom 5 customers. Again, it's useful for us to contact these customers to find out, why the revenue has gone down and whether the company can do something to reverse this. In our third example, we're going to look at data bars. This is a quick way of actually, looking at the data to see the bars, to see how they compare with the other revenue within the same column. So what you do is, if you select the data, Control Shift down arrow, go to Conditional Formatting, go to Data Bars, and then if you select one of these, like this green one, now what you don't want to do, and I did this quite deliberately, is you don't want to select the total, because that means the rest of them won't compare with one another. So if we get rid of this bit here, Conditional Formatting, clear rule from entire sheet. Okay, so now if you go to the top, Control Shift down arrow, just take out total from the selection, and then what you do is Conditional Formatting, Data Bars, and then we're going to select the green one, and as you can see, you can see the bars representing the totals compared with other numbers. Now this kind of gets in the way because it's not easy on the eye, having the bars and the numbers together. So we're just going to clear this, and I'll show you a much better way of doing this. So we cleared this. So what we do is we are going to copy this. Don't need to copy the totals, C, and then what we do is if we paste it here. So what we can do is, if we just select this data, do the same thing as we did before, data bars, select the green one. Now the same data is here, but what you can do is you can take out the numerical side and just leave the bars on their own. So what you do is, if you go to Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules, select this, Edit Rule, and then you see this option here which says Show Bars Only. So if you click that, click OK, click OK again, and now what you'll see is just the bars on their own. So it's very easy to compare the numbers with the bars. Now at the moment, all of these bars are, if you look at the values, they're not that dissimilar from each other. I mean, you're not getting any kind of extreme. So let me explain what that means. So if you take this example, this 8,000, if we were to change it to 200, yeah, the reason that didn't change is because the number is in here. So if you change that to 200, now you see the bar going down drastically. What tends to happen is, if you were to just put a formula in here, to select this cell, then when we had changed this cell, then this would have changed. But it's very useful when you look at variations of numbers. If the numbers are quite if they're similar, then you won't notice the difference in the size of the bars. But if there's a big difference, then rather than just looking at the numbers, you can just look at the bars themselves, and then you'll be able to work out where the big differences are. So again, it's a very good tool if you just don't want to look at the numbers on their own, and you want to be able to see other things which will try and assist you. And of course, when you send these sort of reports out, with conditional formatting, a lot of people are quite impressed, because a lot of the time you need very expensive software to try and produce this sort of representation, comparing numbers, with diagrams. And as you've seen, it's very quick to put together, and of course there's big variations on the type of bars that you can have, and you can also get solid bars as well. In this fourth example, we're going to look at color scales. So what you can do is, if you select the data, Control Shift down arrow, remember to exclude the total, go to Conditional Formatting. This time we're going to look at color scales, and then we just want to look at 3 colors here. So if you click that, and what you'll find is there are 3 colors here which represent the lowest numbers, the medium numbers, and then the highest. So what you can do is, if you want to see how it's being represented, go down into Manage Rules, highlight this, Edit Rule. So what's happening is the lowest numbers are being represented by red, the middle numbers are being represented by yellow, and the highest numbers are being represented by green. So there are 3 colors there, and of course you can change this. If you just want it to be 2 colors, you can change it to that. Click Apply, or click OK, and then it will change all of this. This is quite useful. I mean, one of the things I found is, if for example, if you were marking papers and the grades were dependent on certain criteria, say for example you wanted to if the grade for getting a C was 45, and that was the middle value, you can change it here and it will reflect it on the spreadsheet. So students will be able to work out just by looking at the color. Of course you would have put down a key just saying A is if you got 90%, B if you got more than 70%, and so on. So you can change all of this, and you'll be able to show the students what sort of grade that they've got, and it's quite useful. You can also change the highest value here. So at the moment it's based on values, but you can change it to a numbered value. You can change it to a percentage based on formula, or if it's based on a percentile. So all of this is changeable, but they give you kind of a criteria to begin with. But then obviously you can change the criteria to whatever you require in order to change the color on here. So as you can see, if you're just looking at just the greens, you know that's where the highest numbers are. But of course, if you look at the red ones, you know that's where the lowest numbers are. Again, you can filter this by color, so you'll be able to see where the highest numbers are, where the lowest numbers are. Again, a very quick way of using conditional formatting to get results very quickly. So in this fifth example of conditional formatting, we're going to look at using icons to show us conditional formatting. So if you go down to here, and then as you can see, you've got various options. You can use arrows. You can choose whether you want to use 3 directional arrows, or if you want to use 4 or 5. And then you've also got shapes. Again, you've got lots of choices. You've also got indicators. You know, you've got this one here with a tick, an exclamation mark, and a cross. You can also use ratings as well. So you've got quite a few choices to use. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 3 arrows. So in order to use this, if you go back to here, we just need to select the whole data. So just do Control A, and then we just need to deselect the total field, and then go up to conditional formatting, go to icon sets, and we're just going to use these 3 arrow icons here. So as you can see, it's highlighted 3 separate arrows with different colors. It's the same sort of concept that we saw with the data bars. You know, you've got different colors representing different values. And if you want to see what makes up those values, if you go back into conditional formatting, then go into manage rules, select the rule that we're looking at. So we're just looking at this one here. Ignore this one I did earlier. So if you click on edit rule, now what you can see is anything below 33% is highlighted in red. Anything that is less than 67 but greater than 33 is highlighted in yellow, and anything greater than 67% is highlighted in green. Now you can change this as you did with the previous examples. So if you just wanted to look at the numbers, so let's put a number in there, we'll put another number in there. So now what I want to do is anything that is less than 2000, let's type that in, and then in here I want to put 3000. So what I've specified is if the value is below 2000, then mark it with a red arrow, and then if it's between 3000 and 2000, a yellow arrow, and a green arrow will be anything above 3000. So in order to for this to apply, click on OK, click OK, and now it's changed. So as you can see, most of them were over 3000. So just to get this to show a different arrow, we're going to go back into here, manage rules. So go back into here, edit rule, and then what we're going to do is we'll change this to 5000, and we're going to change this to 6000, So let's see if this works now. So click OK, click OK, and now you can see that we've got different colored arrows depending on the criteria that we've used. As you've seen with all the examples that we've done so far, you can control how conditional formatting works. So you decide, how you want to display, whether it's to do with the coloring, or whether it's to do with the icons, it's to do with the data bars. So in this sixth example of conditional formatting, what we want to do is we want to look at this data, and what we'd like to do is we want to select an item within column F. So for example, if we were just looking for all of the occurrences of TV, what we would like to do is to highlight the whole row each time the word TV appears in column F. So far we've just highlighted individual cells, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the whole row. I think it looks great when this comes together, because highlighting one cell, it looks okay, but if you highlight a whole row, then it's a lot more appealing on the eye, and most people are quite impressed by this advanced function in conditional formatting. So the way you go about doing this is, first of all, you want to select a row where you're going to key in or specify the item that you're looking for. So in this instance, we're going to be looking for the word TV, and what I like to do is I just like to highlight the row that we're going to key this information in. Now we'll start with TV, but then later on, conditional formatting will always be looking at this cell H3, so we can change it to iPod, we can change it to computer, we can change it to anything we want that is included within column F. And of course we can change it to the other columns as well, which we'll also have a look at. So in order to activate this, what we're going to do is we're going to select the data, select it all the way there, then Control Shift down arrow, just go up one cell, and then go into conditional formatting, go into new rule, select user formula to determine which cells to format, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select the row, the first item here just under the headers, which is TV. So click on that. Now what you'll see here is there is an absolute cell address for the column and the row, and what we want to do is we just want to lock the column. So what we do is press F4 again. So now what's happened is the column has been locked but the row hasn't. We want it to go down and check each time there's an occurrence of TV. And then what we want to do here is we want to put the equal sign, and we want to point to the cell where we're going to key the information in. So it's going to be looking in H3, and then each time it finds it, we want to change the color. So for example, if you go for green, as you can guess, I seem to like the color green for some reason. So click OK, click OK again, and then in here we're going to type in TV, and then click enter. So as you can see, each time there's an occurrence of TV, it's highlighted in green. So that makes it really easy to find all of the entries that you're looking for. Now, of course, it's pointing at this cell. So again, let's look for iPhone. I'm sure Tim Cook will be looking at this. So so now it's found all of the occurrences of iPhone, and of course what you can do is you can just filter it. We're just going to do Control Shift and L to bring up the filter, and then what we'll do is if you just click in here and just say sort by color and point to the green area, and then you've got all of the items that relate to iPhone. So again, a very quick way of finding information, but this time you're highlighting the whole all of the rows that relate to that criteria. So we're just going to come out of this, Control Shift L, and then what we're going to do is we're going to change this. So instead of specifying column F, what we're going to do is we're going to specify the region. So what we can do to change this is go into conditional formatting, go into manage rules, and then what we're going to do is we're going to this worksheet, and then click on here, edit rule. So currently it's looking at F6 here, which is this item here, and what we want to do is we're going to change this to G6. So if you go into here, we can actually write this out, or we're going to point to this cell here, and then H3 stays as it is, and then what we'll do is we'll change the color to something else. We'll change it to yellow to match the cell color. Click OK, click OK, click OK. So now at the moment we've typed in iPhone. Now I just want to find everything for the north region. So we're in cell here, so, this cell here, and type in north. Click enter, and as you can see, it has now changed the column that it was looking at. Previously it was looking at column F, now it's looking at column G. So it's very easy just to go in and just change the criteria in order to specify which column that you're looking at. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like and consider subscribing to my channel. See you in the next video.